can your characters use a sled to help them when deer hunting? Do you know what animals do for a drink when the water freezes over? What character building can you do when writing about your characters digging pathways in the snow? Learn about all of this and more on today's episode. Welcome to Writing Rule with Allie, the Fiction Writers Weekly inspiration station for rural life and lifestyles. From historical to post-apocalyptic, helping you bring your rural stories to life. I'm Allie, and this is episode number 95, 5 Uncommon Snow Uses. Stick around to the end to find out all the ways things could possibly go wrong in your story. Now, let's get into this. Number 1. Sleds. Sleds are designed for one simple purpose: to easily move things from one place to another. They have been around for at least 10,000 years in Arctic regions of the world. Believed to first be designed to pull behind a person, they soon expanded to being pulled by dogs, oxen, horses, and more. For the Captain Obvious fans, that means me. Sleds are made to make moving things from one place to another easier, and the weight that can be put onto each sled depends on who is pulling it. Oxen can pull more than a dog. I know, shocking! These sleds can be everything from metal-railed kid sleds to dog sleds used for racing, or even a full wagon-sized and shaped. All of these have been used in history and are still used today. I have 2 memories of this as a child. The first one is using baking sheets to slide down a hill on a snowy winter day. And the second is attaching 2 long sticks in a V shape, and then placing another stick about 3 to 4 feet long, just about a foot from the end of the wide part of the V in the sticks. Then a second stick was attached a little further up, based on the size of what we needed. Sometimes we were carrying things, sometimes we were carrying people. We stood on the inside of the V-tip and pulled it waist high so that we could push it forward. It was fun as a kid. Not so much as an adult, but still practical in the forest. Now, sleds are most often used with snow, but that isn't the only time that they are used. They are often used in muddy areas too. I know many hunters who use toboggan-style sled to pull deer out of the woods, even when there is no snow. They will slide over the ground, grass, and things like this, easier than lugging the deer out by the hooves. This is also helpful in boggy areas of the world. Number 2. Animals eat snow for a drink. A little-known fact is that many animals will eat snow to get a drink. This is very common for dogs, but other animals do it too. And this is even more common when the watering spots, such as streams, watering bowls, or troughs, freeze over. Now, this one comes with a warning. While animals can do this, it also lowers their body temperature for a little bit until the body has time to melt and warm the snow up. This is not a huge deal in the middle of the day when they're running around or hunting or something like that. However, if they eat the snow and then go to sleep, or if they are already on the verge of hypothermia, they could become hypothermic, and that can be deadly. Will it happen every time? No. In fact, most of the time, they will be perfectly okay because of their animal instincts are decent. But we're making stories, and who wants normal? Bonus, this same warning is useful to humans in survival situations when they have no other water except for snow. Number 3. Build snow walls and fences. In areas that get snow more than we usually do here, snow can be built into walls and fences. This comes in handy for many things. It is great for boundaries for kids to know where they can play and not play, block the ugly neighbors, and can keep people from seeing your character's laundry drying on the line. Okay, freezing on the line at that temperature. Alright, I mostly joke, but there are good uses for it. Snow can be piled over a garden to keep an insulating layer between the freezing temperatures and your character's garden plants. I know it sounds crazy, but to put it in layman's terms, think of it like an igloo for the plants. Another thing is that these walls can block snowdrifts from going past the wall. Yes, there will be a huge snowdrift on one side of the wall, but it makes it easier to keep pathways clear to get to places like the barn or up and down the driveway. This also keeps snow from drifting on more delicate structures that could collapse easily. Or if you're writing a hermit-type character, aka the recluse, like my dad, you might use it to make a privacy fence so the neighbors can't see you as they drive down the dirt road. Wouldn't want to look at your character. Number 4, making pathways. I know this one sounds like a duh moment, but stay with me. Pathways are important in almost all stories. Historically, to get to barns, woodsheds, root cellars, chicken coops, and other homes if they live in a close enough area, and were essential in historical villages. In modern times, this would include snow plows and road clearing. These pathways make things safer to prevent accidents of all kinds. Whether it's a car accident, a slip and fall, frostbite from being out in the cold for too long, or something else. Also, if there's an emergency, it makes it easier to get to safety or to get help. These times offer you a wealth of ways to work things in. If your character is doing this alone, it gives time for self-reflection or even offers a good time for flashbacks. It can even show how angry or short-tempered your character can be. It's also a good chance for more than one character to work together and build character depth, show off their bond with teamwork, show their type of communication skills, build character relationships, and so much more. Hard work in the cold is just a great way to show off what kind of person they are when things are not going easy in the moment. This can be telling. It can also be a great way for you to sneak in a bad day for your character to throw off your readers on who your bad guy might be. Just a thought. Number 5, creating windbreaks. The last today is to create windbreaks. Whether the snow is made into a fence or just left to drift against the house, this can be important if the wind is bitterly cold. It can also be important in areas where there are not a lot of trees. Now, I grew up where there were a ton of trees, and when I went to Kansas, I was shocked at how windy it was there. According to the locals, it was not a windy day there. You see, I hadn't realized how much trees, hills, and everything in between blocks and slows down the wind. In flat areas with no trees like Kansas, it is windy all the time. Now, why is it important to block the winter wind? First, winter wind is one of the top reasons people lose body heat. This can lead to hypothermia or frostbite. Around here, we call it the wind blowing right through you because it feels like it blew the heat away. This also affects homeless hobos. Yes, we have those out here too. Pets and livestock. Second, below freezing winds can freeze water pipes or anything with water. It can also freeze plants, and most plants will die if they freeze. It can cause some other types of structural damage, such as to roofs or siding damage. It can cause down power lines and even break off tree branches, which can fall on homes, cars, livestock, and even your characters. Yes, it does happen, and it's happened on our homestead many times. Although getting sideswiped by a deer during an ice storm takes the cake, but that's a story for another day. So, how does this come into play in your stories? On top of all of the above ideas, downed power lines make a great romance setup or the beginning of an apocalypse. Or both if we're lucky. It gives your characters challenges and obstacles to overcome. It can show off your character's creativity and innovation. The options are as endless as your imagination. Fun fact. The coldest winter wind ever recorded in the lower 48 of the United States was on January 20th of 1954 in Rogers Pass, Montana, when it hit a record low of negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit. One quick reminder before we get to the best part of what could possibly go wrong in your story. If you enjoy this content, I hope that you will check out my Buy Me a Coffee page. I have lots of rural gems and stories that you will not find anywhere else. Links in the description. And now for everyone's favorite part, what could possibly go wrong? Likely to go wrong. Your character makes a pathway in the snow to their barn. On the way back, they slip on the pathway and fall, hurting themselves. Also likely to go wrong. Your character tries to make a windbreak for their chickens and make a tiny wall around the chicken fence. However, the wall is not tall enough to block the wind, and the chickens are cold. Possible to go wrong. Your characters are forced to work together to make a pathway through the snow. However, they argue about how to make it, what part to do first, and so much more that nothing gets done. Also possible to go wrong. Your character is on a dog-drawn sled and accidentally falls off. The dogs keep running, leaving your character stranded with no supplies. Unlikely to go wrong. Your characters are pulling a sled load of wood with horses back to their home when the sled slides into the ditch and gets stuck. Improbable, but technically still in the realm of possibilities. Your cowboy character is making a tall snow wall to make a windbreak for themselves and their horse. However, the wall was not thick enough. The wind blows it over on them, crushing them under the snow. This could be deadly. Thanks for listening. Until next time, happy wordsmithing!